What is up, guys? Or just anyone watching, but gonna start being more consistent posting on YouTube, hopefully in 2026, because now my goal is to hopefully build my own personal brand on social media or literally anything in general, but also focus more on my trading. So recently, or pretty much for the past year, a year and a half, I've only been trading with two 50K Apex accounts. Both PAs, I've pretty much had them for almost 2 years and didn't start getting consistent payouts until around a year ago. And even though I'm racking in around 2 to 4K USD per month, which is a bit more because I'm Canadian, I definitely want to get more money realistically. So 2026, I want to focus more on scaling into my Apex account. So getting max funding, hopefully for summer. So 18 more Apex accounts, preferably 50Ks, maybe get some top step accounts, and also just scale into my personal account. I have one on the side, but it's not that big compared to my Apex, but it's nice having an account where I can trade freely. So, but what this video is about is just my first week trading of 2026. Hopefully going to be doing more weekly recaps and maybe monthlies as well, depending on how big my month is in the future. But going to my TradeZella now. You can see my account right here. And all I'm going to do is drag it to the side. Nothing crazy. I was trading one mini on two accounts. So $100, 1-to-1 RR on the week, and I was only trading one micro, actually, not mini, but I was trading one micro contract. Just wanted to start small because prior to this trading week, didn't trade for around 2.5 weeks, mostly because I wanted to spend time focusing on Christmas. But in January, first week, one trade, and luckily it's a winner. So looking at this one trade, up $107, MNQ one contract. So if I go to my journal, why did I choose to enter this trade? So on my TPO chart and volume profile chart, what I wanted to see was a push higher, a retrace into that single print, and a test of this high single print or that single print higher. And the reason why I chose to hopefully look for longs today was because of the overall trend on the TPO and volume profile. So if we go back to the Monday, which would be this, we can see price opened lower and ended up finding value higher. And that's indicated by this green little box here. Might be kind of hard to see. And the red. So what that is the green is where it opened, the red is where it closed for the day, and on the right is volume profile. So on a price chart, what this would look like is kind of like that. So we had the open lower, had the close higher, and the day after that, buyers held that level and pushed it higher into that single print area. So knowing that buyers want to push price higher, I was looking more into buys and less sells because if we did move quickly out of these levels lower, this level here at the bottom, anywhere around here, there's probably going to be buyers present. So definitely want to look for something related to the upside. And now looking at the trade I took on the candlestick chart, if I scroll down, this is what I took. Wasn't really a retrace, mostly because looking at where price was currently and in the moment, it was just too fast. But that's what I liked to see in that case. We had strong buyers break through that single print, and that's indicated by big green candle on the candlestick chart. Below, I have a cumulative volume delta, and there was also a big green candle as well. So with that, we knew that buyers were present. And just to visualize it on the chart, we also have these green dots, and having that push higher and continuing to stay that big, I was willing to take a trade. But that's also another reason why I chose to only risk one micro contract, because there was a chance we could get a retrace. And if we did get that retrace, I'd gladly enter with maybe $250 worth of risk, maybe a bit more, dependent on what I saw. But that's why I chose to take that one micro as well. And I actually did close this trade for only a 1-to-1 and not the 1-to-2, but it did end up and it would have hit TP if I was to hold for longer. But what I want to focus more on is mitigating my risk early on. So if I was to go back to that date, that would be this trade here. Had my buy pretty much at this level. Stops at the low, targeting a 1-to-2. And as we can see, price ended up consolidating till around 9, and that's when it would have hit my take profit, but I wouldn't want to stay in a trade like that for too long, so that's why I mitigated my risk early. Put price to break even once we ended up breaking this high that I marked out. Once we marked out that high and we took it out, that's when I ended up going break even. And when we found a level higher, so that would be this high volume node here, and we ended up consolidating, that's when I decided to move more to 1-to-1. So that's when I decided to move it to 1-to-1. And it ended up retracing, taking me out for 1-to-1. But nonetheless, still green on the day, and it was a trade that I was willing to risk money on. The next thing I kind of want to cover is the Friday. So if I go back to TradeZilla, on the Friday, although I didn't take a trade, there was definitely a possibility where I could have taken one, but mostly because of what I saw, I chose not to. So if I look at my notes, here I have it drawn out. I wanted to see price retrace down to that single print and reverse higher. Pretty much the same story prior. We ended up rejecting the highs, but we're in a level where we had previous really strong buyers, so having a reversal at that level would have been at least somewhat in my bias. And going back to the chart, I can show you why I chose not to take the trade. So pretty much exactly what I said happened. We had that retrace into that lower single print, and we ended up pushing out of it pretty strongly. But there are mainly two reasons why I chose not to take the trade in the moment. And it was because of how fast it moved and just not having a retrace. So compared to the other one, I could have taken that as a continuation. But for this one, it was more of a reversal trade. And with a reversal, I preferably want to take a retrace, hopefully into the candle. So that would have been maybe an entry down here, right below that volume point in control, that purple line, and targeting that high here around 791, or maybe even higher, dependent on previous single print levels that I had marked out. But this is what I was more focused on, and it was kind of just looking for that retrace, that slow, nice movement, instead of the strong push. There are many times where I can take a trade where price moves quickly, but a lot of times not during reversal trades, mainly looking for them in continuation. So that was a trade I could have taken, but other than that, that's kind of a boring week starting off January. One trade, 1-to-1, not even a 1-to-2. But looking at the other side of things, up on the week, winning trade, first trade of the year, and Jan actually. So not mad about that. Going into the next week and the week after, probably going to scale into my positions more, actually start risking what I usually risk, and also just take more trades more frequently, because recently price has been delivering me some pretty good trades and just refining my entries overall. So that's about it.